Today, I just want to yammer a bit about the weirdness of age in PAW Patrol. Most of the characters don't have ages that are clearly defined, though obviously there's a mostly clear delineation between kids and adults, with some characters like Sid the Pirate and the Duke of Flappington being kinda hard to place in the middle. But of course, as a kind of anchor pinning it all down, we've always been told Ryder is 10. That's kind of the main piece of solid info that's in a whole lot of press releases and summaries. Even that's not exactly simple though, because there's a widespread belief that movie Ryder is actually 14. And it's a perfectly rational belief since it comes from this.
How old's Ryder in the show, in the movie?
Ryder's about the same age. I think canonically he's 14.
So I fully understand people taking that as their solid proof movie Ryder is 4 years older than show Ryder. Heck, I like the idea myself and still do kind of want to run with it. But the thing is, I think Lee-Epp was just wrong about this. He was 14 with a very youthful voice for his age when recording for movie Ryder, but all evidence points to movie Ryder also being 10. All the reviews from major publications say he's 10, heavily suggesting a press kit had that info, though in lieu of having it to show anyone, that's just speculation. For the Dino movie, they've cast a kid who was almost certainly still 11 when he got the part and started recording, which would be weird to do for a character you're writing as 14. And as evidence that I'd consider definitive if it had been fully published, the art of PAW Patrol the movie says he's 10. So while I do like the idea of Ryder being a little older in the movies and think it's totally fine to hold on to that belief with Lee-Epp's words as the clincher, I've gotta say I think on balance of probability, I'm almost certain the movie creators have conceived of Ryder as 10, and trying to resist that is just confirmation bias. Having a copy of the Writer's Bible, I can also be confident in a few more ages that are given therein, though since it's not widely shared, people just have to believe what I have is authentic, and it's totally fine to doubt that. It lists Alex's age as 5, which is something that seems quite clear from the show. It says Katie is the same age as Ryder, and I think that may have wiggle room of a year or two. And for some reason it's oddly specific about Taylor Turbot being exactly 7. There are some ages listed for characters on the wiki that I think are pretty groundless and have just been added by users as if factual, but are probably based on nothing more than looking pretty similar to Ryder. Danny and Cody are listed as 10, for example, while Ace has an age given as 10 to 11, but as far as I know, this is just inferred rather than ever stated. Oh, actually no, wait, I remember now that Cody's age was given in the episode summary for All Paws on Deck, so scratch her off the list. But the point stands for the others. It's always worth remembering anyone can edit a wiki at will, and sometimes information is put on there that is not backed up by anything solid. The show itself doesn't help, of course, never establishing ages and letting its 10-year-olds do all kinds of things preteens can't do in our world. Like, run the town's emergency services, and drive around on public roads, and operate businesses, and be fully qualified stunt pilots. And in the classic tradition of timeless cartoon worlds, annual events like Christmas and even birthdays can come and go, and that doesn't mean anyone has aged. But still, Ryder is pretty well placed at 10, though maybe just a couple of years older would work better with his voice actors. Old enough, the little tots in the target audience think he's a big kid to look up to, but unambiguously still a kid. And that brings us to the main question of the video. How old are the pups? We have ages for them. Canonical ages that first popped up in live show profiles and later appeared on the official site. Though, I do think it's worth mentioning that unlike Ryder, their ages are not given in either Writer's Bible I have. Chase and Sky are 7, Marshall and Rocky are 6, and Rubble and Zuma are 5. Later, Everest's age was given as 8, older than the rest of the core team, while Tracker was listed as just 4. Some of these ages have since vanished from the main website. Well, Tracker's was never on it and only showed up in the info given at the live shows, while some are still up on there even today. Now immediately this feels pretty off, and it's a somewhat spicy topic in fandom where people try to reconcile what they know about these characters with these facts presented. On the face of it, this doesn't make much sense. The pups simply don't act those ages, and their voice actors are almost universally more around the age of 10 to 14. Tracker simply doesn't act younger and less mature than Alex does, and nor do Rubble and Zuma seem his age. We also see younger versions of the pups in flashbacks, so what age are we positing they are? If the Tracker we know is 4, how old is this extra young version? 2. The pups act like slightly bewildered, substantially older siblings around the junior patroller, so how old are they? 3. So of course everyone casts around for ways to headcanon this to make sense. People look into dog years of course, but naturally these end up with us shaking the image of Chase in his late 40s and Everest well into her venerable 50s out of our collective heads. Perhaps in their world, these talking dogs age faster than humans, but not as fast as our world's dog years, so a 5-year-old pup might be more like a 10-year-old in the PAW universe. I tend to think of them as around the ages of the voice actors who originated the roles, or how old they were after a season or two, because honestly, I think that's how they're characterized. Maybe in the very first season, they noticeably act more like little kids. Chase scared of the dentist, Zuma with a speech impediment he's likely to grow out of. It even makes episode 1 a Marshall blithely asking what a bay is when he lives by a bay in a town named after the bay. A tiny bit more reasonable if he's meant to be 6.
What's a bay?
But with great celerity, those ages start to seem very wrong, and by the time these kid pups are acting as lifeguards, spies, superheroes, knights, they're pretty obviously pre-adolescent. Heck, I'd even say when they're putting on early season talent shows, they're obviously older. Have you seen talent shows with 5-year-olds? The best case scenario is the chaos will be funny. So yeah, all this is basically to say, it may be a flaw of the writing process that ages are ill-defined in the show. It does likely contribute to uneven characterization if different writers may be seeing pups as 5 or 13. My headcanon is they're all around 11 to 13, and it's hard to escape that feeling when you start hearing a voice actor's voice is on the cusp of breaking. Don't get me started on the dubs that just let them carry right on after they go through puberty and start sounding more bassy than Mr. Porter.
What's happening, Ryder?
Ryder? Ich denke, wir sollten hier alle raus.
And also, yeah, I'd kinda like to cling on to the belief that movie Ryder is 14, but on balance of probability, I just think Lee-Epp was thinking of himself and got that one wrong. Alright, let me know your thoughts on this issue. For the kind of related video I made about why I never want to see grown-up versions of these characters on the show, click here. Or, for a fan animation of the pups acting a little more mature, why not click here. That's all for today though, and I'll see you guys again next time.